Hi, I'm Fazlan Faiz and I'm here to present you the group presentation about the changes in organizational structure and design at SEMCO. This presentation focuses on different aspects that happened since SEMCO was established to what happened when a new management took over, making changes at every level. To begin with the changes in management style at SEMCO, my colleague Harun will give you a detailed analysis which will be discussed in question 1. Secondly, an analysis of SIMCO's organizational design will be discussed by Sarun Singh in question 2. To proceed, thirdly, the human resource policies that affects and has effects on its employees will be presented in question 3 by Simran. Furthermore, a detailed analysis about how SIMCO handled downsizing will be explained by Bikram Maham in question 4. In fact, we were able to put this presentation together with the help of all members by actively participating in group discussion that we held on WhatsApp and Zoom. And also, I would like to pass the opportunity to my colleagues to give a full understanding about how SIMCO has evolved over time. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Mohammad Haroon and I'll tell you about the management style at Semco. So first of all, I will let you know about the Antonio to Ricardo the transformation in the company. During Antonio's time, Semco was strictly hierarchy-based company where guards scouted at the shop floor. After taking over, Ricardo wanted to keep the company solvent, but afterwards he hired those managers who were hard with their employees. Like his father, he followed authorization practices. After his accident, he realized these authorization practices were no longer fruitful. He realized that the greater the autonomy, the greater the adaptability. Secondly, I'll tell you about centralization or decentralization. In centralized company, the head of the company is the one who makes all the decision and has all the powers. Conversely, decentralization attracts more autonomy and authority is removed from the center. Initially, Ricardo Semler followed rules of centralization, but later on he started following decentralization. Ricardo felt that employees are showing best output, trustworthiness, and adaptability after the process of decentralization. And lastly, I'll tell you about mechanistic or organic approach. Mechanistic structures follow centralized approach where companies operate in a very stable environment. Organic structure is a framework where roles are effectively described and employees have power and responsibilities. Antonio used to follow mechanistic approach for running Semco, and initially Ricardo followed the footsteps of his father, but later on he did organic approach to get the best out of his employees. Ricardo democratized the Semco in which employees were free to choose what they want to do. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, my name is Sargun Singh and my student number is S3135. Today I'm going to discuss about Semco's organizational design and structure. First of all, the structure which was followed by Antonio, and after that, the structure which changes by Samler, the son of Antonio, and the transition controls and sort of things. The structure which of the Semco's, which was initially when the Semco founded, followed is the, we can say, the traditional pyramidal organizational structure, which we can say the functional one. In this structure, the followed with the one leader at the top, a small executive leadership team below, and a tier of managers and the low-level staff at the bottom of the employee. Each tier was be managed by the managers or the tier below, and one more. And the other thing, the we can say the responsibility more evenly divided in the structure, like the responsibility goes downwards and the answerability for the outcome goes upward. Like if CEO of the company, as we say in this case, Antonio divides the responsibility to the middle level, and after that it goes down to the low level for the department managers or the foremen at the site, and the answerability goes in the upper way with the from low level to the medium and then to the CEO of the company. In this one, there were a lot of pros and cons for this case as well. The major a lot of pros, but the major con which we can say it, a lot of communication gaps between the low level and the top level management. They can't say their grievances and sort of things with the top level. They can't meet and greet at the easily ways. And now the other case, which Samler, the Antonio's son, change in the company. He followed a radical organizational structure, which we can say divisional organizational structure, which comprises of a three circles, a smaller one and the other two bigger one. In the tiny circles, he followed with the three members, and the second one contains leaders of Semco, and the last circle contains all employees of the company. In this circle, a company's division have control over their own resources, essentially operating their own companies like the divisions, like the uh, because Semco is running with a different sort of products and companies. Like every division has their own resources, everything on. They're running by their own, and the leaders of the every, like we can say, every division is different, and they are the members of the Semco's board of committee members. And the one more thing which is about this structure is it changes the CEO of the company by the half yearly basis, because Semco, when running by the Samler, the structure is be like six CEOs, and every CEO has a term of a half year, like for the 6 months, and it's be scheduled. Every CEO is coming on the post of the CEO by 2.5 years. It increase the efficiency and the burden for every CEO. Like every CEO has the same power after every time, and they have the same burden or the stress level, and so he or she can feel the burden how to run the company and learn sort of things and like these. And the first, and we can now I have to talk about the transition structure, how they change. The first structure was functional one, where reporting relationship was like hard, and on the other hand, the structure which was imposed by Semler, the radical or we can say divisional organization structure, was quite difficult to understand. In this case, it was comprised various individual in three circles. Like one have to respond other. Like we can say in this one, if in the Semler structure, if the company is divided in different divisions, and like we can say production division or the marketing division, if the leaders for both divisions have any conflict between them, it decreases the production, or it decreases the efficiency for the company and the earning capacity for the company in this case. Accordingly, it depends on the company how they run and how the CEOs control the company. That's it from my side. I'll move others. Thanks.
Good morning, guys. My name is Simran, and now I'm gonna discuss about the human resource policies at the SEMCO. So, guys, we know that the human resource policies, they help in managing, or we can say organizing the workforce and managers in the organizations. So, if we take the example of SEMCO-like companies, so these type of companies act as a human resource practices, so that they can act as a blueprint for the management of the organization. And these organization acts as a human resource practice, so that they can govern the human resource policies, and these includes the autonomy, the transparencies, and the individual drive. So the autonomy allowed the employees to do whatever they want to be provided. They were conscious of organizational goals. The human resource expected transparency as the main meeting of the goal of trust and accountability in the organization. So the employees were expected to report issues following a bottom-up hierarchy. This minimized the possibility of some minor issue, we can say, that can be solved at lower managerial levels from reaching to the top level, or top level management, we can say. So this was called the so these type of employees were expected to observe a certain limit of their autonomy. So after reading this, we know that this is known as the balanced approach. As what the so now I'm going to explain about the balanced approach. So balanced approach is, as much as they enjoy the freedom of working in a free environment, they had an obligation to remain disciplined and focused on the human resource policies. So I think the policies at the human resource at Samco can be described to be have scrapped with the new way of management. So the employees shown their freedom to set their working time and to take decision on their own, and these type of policies gives belief to the employees that they are very mature enough to take the decision for the increment of the organizational goals. And I think if we give employees these type of these freedoms, so because of that the employees had the ability to attain, I think, the work life balance, I would say work life balance. And so I think work life balance with the transparent system which breeds loyalty as well as the engagement of the employees. And this implies that morale was imposed with the attainment of the goal succeeded under these policy. So overall, I say that human resource policies plays a very important role in at the SEMCO. Uh, and overall, I think that the human resource policies at SAMCO is missing somewhere. So that's the reason I would say that there was a disorganization in the company.
Hi, this is me, Bikram. Today I'm gonna discuss how SECMO handled downsizing, and SECMO handled downsizing in a very coordinated and well thought management by an objective way, which benefited both the company and its employees in the long run. And I would like to mention some features employed by SEMCO in order to handle downsizing. And autonomy actually displayed a greater adaptability, output, and trustworthiness within staff, which lead to an efficient and productive employee-employer relationship, which in turn increase productivity and profitability for SECMO. And it also expanded from a traditional production company to a service and further cutting edge internet ventures company. And agile working practices mean that SEMCO render around the doctrine that employees need to make their own decisions in the course of completing their work for the company, and freedom of policies, procedures, and regulations saw SECMO employees to be answerable to themselves in terms of efficiency and productivity, which mean that staffs were motivated by self-interest, which resulted in solutions no one could envision. And in our next slide, human resources, how human resources were treated in SEMCO is highlighted actually. And one was in faith, group behavior, or human or to be productive and to strive for better tomorrow and to contribute and embed or of significance. And second one was everyone's functionality was distinct with regards to time, place, and mode of delivery to their best ability and output. And in SEMCO, focus was placed on what really mattered to make productive use of time. And bottom up approach was the most beneficial as it created greater robustness for efficient and consistent decision making. Leadership at SECMO was on, which meant that employees determined whether they required a new staff member, now referred to as innovative recruitment guidelines. And transparency of employees to do that extra piece of work revealed their self-interest in the company and the confidence and passion they had for the company. Individually, eh, employees were individually driven, which meant that staff's key strength were aligned to organizational objectives. SEMCO balance approach means that staff salaries were determined on work on the work every staff member did, in which in return was linked to overall performance of the company, motivating every staff member to do their best. And the last but not least, Semco judicial management practices resulted in a trusted and loyal staff regime, which resulted in profitable and sustainable growth for the company despite its downsizing. And that's how Semco was able to handle downsizing. That's all for me. Thank you so much.